just built a shelter. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a fire so we can cook dinner. This particular video is going to be like the easiest way to start a fire. We're not going to get into the complicated bow drilling or using ferro rods or anything like that. If you are stuck out in the forest and you don't have a lighter, you did it to yourself. The same thing with a knife. If you're stuck out in the forest without a knife and without a lighter, you did it to yourself. However, we will get into those in a later video, some of the more primitive fire starting methods. In this video, we're going to use all of the resources we can get our hands on because that's what smart people do. We're going to go ahead and run and grab some wood, and we'll be back. Now the soil is a little wet, so what we want to do is we want to create a surface that we can get this fire going on. So we're just going to kind of lay down some of these sticks here. We'll collect some of this grass to be kindling. Just this dry stuff. It's all really good. So what we have is we have a surface here to start a fire. We have small kindling, and then we have just some dry brush, and this is going to be the stuff that we'll use to really get the fire going. Fire is extremely important. Without fire, you can't cook, you can't purify water unless you have a filtration system, and also just hanging out around the fire is just a great time. Now, in the beginning of this video, I mentioned being willing to use whatever resources you have. We'll make some more videos about some primitive fire starting techniques, but I really want this video to make sense to anybody who has access to it. So they make some great products. This is I guess you could call it a fire plug. It's a piece of cotton and it's soaked in some sort of a chemical that makes it just very easy to start a fire. So we're going to use one of these. I'm going to show you guys how this all works. So we're going to take this fire plug and just open it up, little piece of cotton. You can also make these at home with the cotton swabs and petroleum jelly. So we're going to go ahead and open up this fire plug. It's going to go there. We're going to get our small sticks here ready to go. Sit some of our larger, medium-sized sticks around the fire here. And like I said, use your resources. So we're going to get that plug going. We can use it to get this kindling going. We're building this fire not necessarily to stay warm or to heat a bunch of stuff up. We're building this fire for cooking. If we really wanted to, we could cook on this flame right here, but we'd kind of have to hold the pan up and kind of have to deal with feeding the fire underneath it. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let this burn down, get a decent little coal base going, and then we'll be able to cook on it. So you do not need a big fire to cook at all. As you can see, this is a very small fire pit we kind of put together here. This wouldn't necessarily keep a bunch of people warm, but it would keep one person warm or two or three people warm. I think it was an old like Native American proverb that I read. It was, you know, a native builds a small fire and sits close. The white man builds a big fire and sits far back. But I like my big fires sometimes, so I'm not hating. So we're gonna go ahead and just feed this and just let this fire kind of do its thing. There's also something quite mesmerizing about the fire. It's easy to kind of get lost in the fire. There's something very hypnotic about staring into the campfire. There's something magical about it as well. I mean, it serves a practical purpose, but it's allowed mankind to make some incredible developments over the eons, and sometimes it can be the perfect catalyst for meditation. So here's what's on the menu. We've got a little bit of bacon, good stuff. We've got some chicken apple sausages. We've got some eggs. some coffee, that's some brown sugar, and our spices. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this bacon in the pan and get some things going. One of the great pleasures of life on the trail is good meals, if you do it right. And it's funny, when you're kind of out there in the wild, really anything will taste good. You know, it could just be a bowl of oatmeal with a little bit of brown sugar, but after a full day of hiking, that's pretty enjoyable. However, if you plan properly, you can also have some really nice meals. When the weather is right, and it's one of the reasons why I love camping in the winter, because you can actually hike out with meat and it's not going to spoil in the summer heat. Hike out with some steaks, some pork chops, throw those on the fire. You're talking about some really, really good eating. It's popular to, you know, get the dehydrated meals from REI, and all you really need to do is boil some water and pour it in there. And those are great. A lot of them taste really good. But I do really appreciate fresh, wholesome food, especially when I'm out in nature. So for breakfast, you know, eggs are great. Sausage, if it's a good season. Summer sausage is always great for breakfast and lunch and dinner, really. Summer sausage is great because if it's cured, then you can transport it, it's not going to go bad. Oatmeal is great for breakfast. Oatmeal is pretty much universal camp food. Lunch, peanut butter, tortillas, honey. And then dinner, you know, if you're doing it right, you bring out some sausages, bring out some steak, bring out some pork chops. Really, whatever you want to eat, there's a way to figure out how to do it. So now you can see the way that we have this fire set up. It's not super ideal for kind of supporting a pan elevated over it. So we could get creative though and make something. So as you can see, what I've done is I've kind of put this stick in the ground and used it to kind of build just a little support, a little triangle support to help kind of elevate our pan over the fire. Close that up. Let's also heat up some water for some coffee. And we'll do that by just sitting up here next to the fire. These are the simple pleasures of life, never to be taken for granted. Oh, we're gonna go ahead and add our eggs, final ingredients. So we got our bacon, we got our apple sausage. This is gonna be a crazy good meal. We're gonna go ahead and add our eggs. Spice it up. I swear the best cup of coffee I've ever had is a cup of instant coffee on top of Mount LeConte. It beats any damn fancy Starbucks, dude. It's where you're drinking it. Get some instant coffee going. Mix it up a little bit. That's awesome.
The sausage is great. Going for some bacon. I guess I'm getting both.
Dude.
And the bacon is very good.
That's farm fresh from my buddy's farm.
Yeah, that's great, man.
It'd be easy to just come out and, you know, make like a dehydrated meal, but eating like this is luxury living right here. What a cool spot. Show the people.